Hello and welcome to Romdo, a podcast about gaming and technology done by a crazy bunch of programmers turned gaming geeks. This week's episode is episode number 1, the one about E3. We'll be talking about everything revealed during the press conferences and on the show floor during the Electronic Entertainment Expo 2015 in LA, California. So without further ado, let's get on with the show.
Hello to any poor soul who might be actually be listening to this. My name is Jim, and me and a couple of my ragtag misfit friends decided that we're going to try a podcast about gaming and technology, because it's all we pretty much talk about and chat about anyway. So hopefully your ears will still be attached to your brain if you actually end up listening to the whole of this. And I'll let the other guys introduce themselves.
Alrighty, I'm Alex, and I've been playing games since I was a little kid. Really happy to play them for my entire life, actually. I'm more of a retro head, but I do some modern gaming as well, and everything tech. Yeah, that's me.
Hi, I'm Eric. I've started gaming from the C64, so that's where I began, and I actually like the arcade type games. I play lots of different other kinds of games too, but that's the what I actually enjoy playing.
Cool. So me personally, my first gaming experience was when I was about 6 years old, when I finally bought my first Nintendo Entertainment System after I'd been saving money since I was 4 years old. Little did my parents know when I was 4, and they told me that you'll have to save your own money to buy one of those. I would save my own money. Then had a few years where I didn't play much video games, so it's only the last 3-4 years I've started playing a lot again, and mostly AAA games, for better or worse. Assassin's Creed series I tended to love until 3 came out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So Witcher 3 is my latest love, and recently stopped playing Destiny about 30 hours a week or whatever I used to do since it came out.
Thanks, bunches.
Done. For a living, I basically just bash a keyboard to produce code that makes other people money. Similar to what Alex does, I believe.
Yep. Even used to work together, didn't we, Jim?
Yes, true, we did. I almost forget that because we talk so much anyway.
True. So I was saying, yeah, my first video game was the Atari 2600. My father was much of a gamer for his age as he could have been, and he was really happy to play with me and watch me play mostly. Games like Pitfall and Keystone Capers and River Raid on the Atari. Then I had, a Master System, a Mega Drive or Genesis, as the guys in the US might know it. A Super Nintendo, then the Nintendo 64, the PS1. And then I had kind of a hiatus for a while, and I got the PS2 very late in its cycle, 1 or 2 years before they stopped producing games for it. And the same happened to the PS3, but I'm on bleeding edge with the PS4 now.
I don't know, personally, my kind of game tends to be third-person action, open world kind of thing, tends to be the thing I like the most. I had an N64 around 2000, 2001, and mostly just played Ocarina of Time and GoldenEye 007 on that. And what's it called? I ended up then 3 years later, 2004, 2005, I had the Xbox One and pretty much only played the first Fable on it. And then the Wii for Twilight Princess. And that's kind of most of the gaming I did between late 90s until 2012 when I got a 360. And kind of caught up with playing all the Assassin's Creed games that were out until then, and Fable 2 and 3 and such. And nowadays, I'm sitting on a PS4 and Xbox One, a Wii U, and all the previous gen consoles as well, and kind of have too many games, and too many games I want to play.
You know you're not supposed to sit on top of your PS4, right?
True. That's probably not the right thing to do with it. So that's kind of strange. Maybe some people like doing that. I don't. But yeah, no. So big part of the problem with getting around to new games as well the last 8 months has been Destiny, because I haven't been able to pull myself away from it until a couple of weeks ago. So it's like, yeah, new game. Played Bloodborne for about an hour and a half. Then, oh yeah, Destiny. Gotta play Destiny. So need to go back to Bloodborne again.
Well, and you can thank the what was it called, the Prison for the Elderly.
Yes, Prison of Elders pretty much put me off Destiny completely.
Right.
New game mode, yes, but very annoying and very painful and not very fun.
Oh, I think it's the main reason why like so many gamers hate massive multiplayer online games. It's just it tends to suck people away from playing many games, and they just tend to focus on one game. Like I lost all my gamer friends when I started playing WoW, and yeah.
Yeah, true. No, I mean I have like over 600 hours something in Destiny. It's like way too much time sunk into it. But yeah, at least something finally pushed me away from it. So there's always a silver lining.
Yeah, now we are playing another MMO.
Yeah, true. We started playing Final Fantasy XIV again. So I originally played for about a month, end of 2013, I think, when it came out for PS3.
Okay, so I started with a C64, and then my family got an Amiga, and for the longest time we played with that combination, and afterwards, basically when the PlayStation was just getting huge, we got a Super Nintendo, and then a PC, and I've mostly been PC guy. But at around 2004, I guess, I got really into fighting games. I used to play them before, but then I got really into them, and it was after the whole. I was into 2001 and 2000 through 2004. It was the time when I was really into Max Payne, and after that I started playing a shit ton of fighting games. I started with Soul Calibur 2, and then we played some Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Then Street Fighter 4 came out, and I've actually been playing that and the latest issue of Tekken, whatever that is. So Tekken 6 and Tekken Tag 2. Now I've been playing those quite a lot, and most of my actual free time has been going to fighting games.
I heard you hold some regional title for a fighting game tournament, Eric. Is that true?
Yeah, I've won the local Tampere for this town. I've won the Tekken tournament for the Tekken tournament for was it Tekken 3? It was quite recent, but before that I had won some Street Fighter 4 title, and I have the trophy there, which is nice.
Cool.
But
should put a picture on the show notes.
It's a pretty funny thing, because being the best in town means nothing when you are not even the best in not the best in Finland, let alone the best in Europe or the world. So,
true. Didn't you get close to winning the Finnish championships though?
Well, the closest I've gotten is 4th place, which is
that's not bad.
Yeah.
Which is weird. You guys don't know who Micros is?
No.
Okay, so he used to be this tournament player playing Street Fighter, and he basically he's now doing other stuff, but he used to be that, and he plays the same character as me, and he used to get and he was famous for always getting 4th place at every tournament.
So you're stepping into his shoes now.
Yeah.
That's what you mean.
Yeah.
Cool. You know, kind of like Yukio Takayama has raced, I think, 20 years of Formula 1. He was always last place in grid.
That's impressive and unfortunate all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's amazing and sad.
But let's see, what was our program? We had introductions now, and now we can go to World Champs.
I just want to touch on one thing first.
Yeah?
You mentioned Max Payne. I completely forgot about that as well. I was massively into Max Payne as well around the same time, and that's actually how me and Eric ended up meeting on MaxPayneHeadquarters.com's forums back a good 14 years ago now. So,
Wow.
yeah, internet is a strange place. I think we met once in person. You came to London and visited me a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true. This year as well. I forgot about that. It was a quick and brief one though. We only met up once for dinner.
Yeah. We were supposed to go to the arcade, but it didn't work out. Late at that point.
Got late. The arcade was just stupidly far away. Yay for public transport.
Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, in-house and around the world, welcome to the Nintendo World Championships!
So, Nintendo World Championships. Anyone?
Well, I think you know the most about it, Eric, so get started on it.
Well, obviously it was a marketing thing. So it's what they were advertising, what they currently have, and what they're going to release. The first game they played was Platoon, which is not a something that it's not very interesting to watch. In general, it's not quite. In general, it's not interesting to watch shooters because you have in this case they had 8 players playing at the same time. So you don't know what's happening. You can't tell what's happening, and you're just watching some player do something, and you can't see. You don't have any idea what's happening in the outside of that one person's view.
That's like MOBAs, which are the main esports now, are kind of the same, aren't they?
Yeah.
A little bit, I guess, yeah.
And then they use this 2-tier system, kind of like a double elimination tournament. And they had this underworld game, which was The Legend of Zelda. And that was also quite interesting because the guys that were supposed to win, the speedrunners, they screwed up and they got eliminated first round.
Yep.
And they were trying to do some tricks, and they were on really low health, and then they screwed up because of that, because they were going through enemies with they get hit and they go through enemies and other areas with that. But when you have half a heart left and then you screw up, then the game restarts. So
yeah.
The other guy who one of the guys who was actually more careful and wasn't there to speedrun it won the Zelda challenge.
Which is just fair, I think. I mean, if you refer back to the movie The Wizard, which we talked about on pre-show, the tournament there was like a kind of a point-based system and totally not based on speed running things. And while I think speed running's cool and all, I think it doesn't translate to skill in video games. It's just your capacity of finding a good glitch or just decorating the patterns you have to go through in a level.
It's your skill, how skillful you are at breaking the game to your in your favor.
Speedrunners are still usually the best and fastest players, but they also utilize these glitches, which and some of these are frame perfect things that you have to do. So it's not like you just learn about it, you just read about it and then do it. You actually have to have practice that certain glitch for quite a while. And the next game in the Nintendo World Championship, Blast Ball, I think, which turned out to be a Metroid game. In the end, it only turned out to be a Metroid game after the event in Nintendo's own digital event afterwards. So they were advertising this like this is some new IP that they have, and then in another event they say this isn't a different IP. This is actually part of the Metroid Prime series.
Yeah.
And again, it was an FPS, so not too interesting to watch, especially since it's on the 3DS, and that's Anyway.
Well, I must say, like, I played the original Metroid on the 3DS, and it was probably the best incarnation of Metroid Prime ever.
You mean Hunters?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't think it was called Metroid Prime, but anyway, it was an FPS Metroid on DS, and even the online play was quite interesting.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's not fun, but I'm saying that it's not interesting to watch. Like the whole it has the same issue as Splatoon did. And then the next Underworld round was Super Metroid. And then there they had a speedrunner win, because the speedrunner was doing all these wall jumps that you have to practice quite a while to get.
Yeah.
And after that it was.
I thought they started with the password for getting right into Master Brain, but maybe I was wrong.
They started with the Mother Brain, so you had to beat the Mother Brain first, and then you had to run as quickly as possible out of the place. That's the ending. So they did that, but there's a whole bunch. There's a bunch of sections that there are obvious platforms there, but if you wall jump, you get up quite a bit faster.
Right.
And then they had then it was Mario Kart, which, well, it's Mario Kart, so
it goes about as well
really
as
a skill-based game, is it?
No.
Yeah. And
we've talked quite at length about Mario Kart in the past, me and Alex.
Yeah, we played a bit of Mario Kart together, actually.
Yep.
And
but I thought it was really fun when they went to the balloon game. How's it called again?
oh yeah, the last Underworld round was Balloon Fight.
Yeah, Balloon Fight.
Yeah.
Right.
And
That looked strange and interesting.
yeah, it's actually one of those games that Nintendo likes to put into those mini game collections they have, like
Yep.
WarioWare. They like putting that there.
I remember playing it a lot back in the day, and it's a very fun game. It's a little game and feels like a mini game in a lot of ways, but on the other hand, there's so much nuance to the controls.
And then it was Super Smash Brothers, and there was this one guy that was beating everyone quite solidly, but then there was a fight for the second place. This I think Johnny Numbers, the guy,
Right.
and
Was he the one that beat Reggie as well? Because Reggie showed up.
Oh yeah,
right about when they were playing Super Smash.
Oh
Bros.
yeah, that was the pre-show to the Smash Brothers tournament. They had this grudge match going, and it was Reggie against Hungrybox, and Hungrybox is one of the best Smash Brothers players in the whole of US.
Right.
So Reggie got completely destroyed. He didn't have any chance. He wasn't given any chance. He was just so that happened. Then there was the
piece of fresh meat. It was a piece of fresh meat tangled in front of a wolf.
Yeah, well, he was the one who challenged, so
right.
That's what happened.
Final stage.
And then they had Super Mario Maker, which they announced the big announcement for that game, that it wasn't called Mario Maker anymore. It was called Super Mario Maker now. That was the biggest announcement they had.
No, there's no Wii
Nice.
on it.
And we discussed this before, and it was funny to watch that the one of the guys was doing really well, and the other guy, Cosmo, he did well in one section, and his opponent gets 15 seconds of free time so that he can as a reward for clearing more levels. And then the 15
second head start.
The 15-second head start starts, and then the guy gets the second part, and then gets the second part of the level, and then Cosmo starts, and he can't get he's stuck in the first section of the level. And after that, you can see that the other guy is going. All of these new sections are being shown where he's going, and then he reaches Bowser, and then finally Cosmo gets to the second section of the level.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't that? It was quite anticlimactic.
Yeah.
In the sense that one guy's just screwed in the first section, and the other guy's just going at it and guaranteed to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no real dispute, was there?
No.
But anyway, I think it's really fun that Nintendo brought it back. Like, I think the first championship they made was in 1990.
Yeah.
And it was all about the video games of the time, and there was way before esports ever was considered a thing.
Cool.
And they're bringing it back to like being a good video game player, not being good at League of Legends or being good at Call of Duty or whatever.
Yeah,
That is
exactly.
the esports of the day. And
Yeah, no, in that
there's-
sense, it's very good.
And there's no professional teams or big brands built around that. It's just honest to God, gaming skills. It's really fun
Yep.
to see that.
Yep. No, I quite enjoyed it.
I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
I think it's pretty unanimous that Sony kind of had the biggest news and the biggest press conference with 3 major announcements, which was The Last Guardian, Shenmue III, and Final Fantasy VII, which basically had, as far as I could tell, gamers world over either dying of heart attacks or thinking they're about to die of a heart attack in response to it, because they're all massive news that most people just thought would never, ever happen.
Yeah. I wonder why people obsess so much about The Last Guardian. I mean, okay, the first demo they showed, like, way back when, was kind of coolish for the time.
Yeah.
But what they showed this year was, like Prince of Persia on steroids. I was very let down by that.
Yeah, true. I think the big following with The Last Guardian is a lot to do with two previous games by that team, Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. Both of those games have a pretty big following. Unfortunately, I've never really played either of them much. I played Shadow of the Colossus for like maybe 5-6 hours.
Yeah, same here.
Only, but yeah, I think what they did with the demo this year was just, it still exists, it still looks great, and they showed a bit more character to your actual like weird griffin dog companion thingy, which was quite impressive. At least it kind of felt like that guy or that creature is something you really care about, which didn't really come across as much in the previous demo, I think. But I think the goal was more just, it still exists, we are actually working on it, you'll see it soon, kind of thing, rather than look at all this awesome stuff.
Look, we have this vaporware, and
Yeah.
it might not be vaporware in a few
Well,
years.
the game looked the exact same as it did the last time they showed it, which was funny to me.
True, however, there is a reason for that, though.
I have a feeling like this is a PS2 game with an upgraded engine.
Kind of. I'm hoping they spiff up the graphics more before the final release, but there is a reason why it looks very similar to the original PS3 demo they showed, because it turns out that the PS3 demo couldn't actually run in its current form on a PS3, so it was actually rendered offline, because the frame rate was like 10 frames or something at the time when they showed it back in 2009, so they had to fake it because they hadn't had a chance to optimize it enough to actually run on a PS3. So hence it did look better than it actually could on a PS3.
Right. Kind of like Watch Dogs then.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like they were running it on a PS3 and a half.
I'm expecting what they're doing and what they're going to do is that that the next announcement they're going to make that's okay. So guys, that was the last demo we had from 2009. Now we announce the official cancellation of the game.
Yeah,
That would be entertaining.
Maybe. I don't know. I have the feeling they're gonna do some like very short release for this thing, kind of like Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes,
Yeah.
like this 10-hour gameplay thing.
Yeah. It could be. And I don't have enough experience of their previous games, unfortunately, to comment properly of what it might be, but...
And Final Fantasy VII Remake, we know absolutely nothing about it.
True.
Yeah. They're just
Well, we know it's gonna look better, right?
Yeah.
And like,
Yep.
Final Fantasy VII was such a special case because Square Enix had actually started development on a Final Fantasy for the Nintendo 64, which looked amazing, by the way. They were kind of like super deformed 3D models, but it was very cute-ish, very bright, very colorful, very early Final Fantasy. And then they stepped out of that direction because they wanted to include rendered 3D movies into the game. And then they moved on to PlayStation because they had the storage capability, because Nintendo refused to add a CD drive to the Nintendo 64. And Final Fantasy VII, I mean, if you play it these days, you can barely make out what things are on the screen.
I've never played it, I have to admit.
it was
So I'm really looking forward to replaying it and actually figuring out what's on the screen. That's all I
Yeah,
can
true.
say.
I mean, if it looks good, I will end up playing the remake, because my first ever Final Fantasy game was actually Final Fantasy XIV a year and a half ago. And aside from that, the only other Final Fantasy game I've played is the 15-episode Duskgate demo. So 7 could be an interesting game.
Do yourself a favor and grab Final Fantasy 1 and 2 on the DS. They're fully upgraded to 3D.
Oh, interesting.
The combat is still like JRPG style and turn-based, but they're very good stories.
Okay, I might give that a try. Generally, turn-based combat turns me off and like, no, not interested, but I should probably give it a try, I guess.
well. The issue, well, there were some funny news surrounding it. Like, for example, there's like this news bit. Final Fantasy VII director says, "Please look forward to cross-dressing Cloud in the remake." So we get that scene at least. People were worried that we won't be getting cross-dressing Cloud, but we get that scene at least.
Okay.
Well, he did cross-dress in the original, though. I'll give you that. There's this one part of the game where you're in this kind of a carnival town or something, and you do have to cross-dress to get across the guards or something, as far as I remember. So it's not like they're adding it just for the sake of, Japan.
Yeah.
It wasn't the original game.
Yeah.
Yep.
There were some other scenes that are also quite disconcerting, that are still in the what was it? There was this one scene where you go where the room is full of naked guys, and they
Oh,
are
nice.
they are massaging Cloud. That's one of the scenes too. Oh. So I guess we'll get an HD version of that too.
Yeah, I guess.
Yup.
But anyway, we know absolutely nothing. They say that they'll be changing something, so we don't know what that means. Does that mean it'll be real time? Don't know. Nobody knows. I don't even know whether the developers themselves know.
I don't think they would dare to change the combat system of Final Fantasy VII.
You never know. Most people are probably hoping for a frame by frame exact duplicate of the original, but just everything looking like pretty much the Advent Children CGI movie.
Yeah. Well, I for one am looking forward to fighting Sephiroth in full HD.
True.
Well, I'm not. Like I said, we know basically nothing about it except that it exists.
It exists. It's something they're supposedly making, are gonna make. So we don't even know if they've started working on it yet.
And Shenmue III is the same. We actually know absolutely nothing about that except that it exists.
True.
Well,
it exists.
It will exist if enough people put money in it, but enough people already have. So yeah, I could say that it exists at this point. I wonder
it will
if
hopefully
the
exist.
Kickstarter is actually like a publicity stunt, or if they actually need the money, and they're going fully independent on this one.
Well,
No, I read an article by, where the creator was, what's his name? Yo Suzuki, where Yo Suzuki said that he wanted to do it via Kickstarter to have more freedom and to be able to cater more to what the fans actually want rather than succumb to the pressures of a studio that's backing it. I don't know if that means that Sony are also putting money into the game and the Kickstarter side is kind of meant to help it along, or if it means that it's solely based or funded via Kickstarter. But either way, hopefully they'll have enough money to finish the game and do it the way they really want to do it and have proper contact with the fans. They did at least have enough exposure to actually bring down Kickstarter's website for about 20 minutes or so, if I remember right.
Yep.
Right after the announcement, which is pretty impressive because I can't recall a single project doing that in the past to Kickstarter. But I mean, they raised $2 million in the first 10 or so hours, I think it was.
Yep.
It was pretty impressive. So they're currently at 3.4 million out of the 2 million goal.
Almost double.
And still 26 days to go. Yep.
the main issue is one, Sony obviously has some money involved, otherwise they wouldn't be advertising it on their own conference. That's one thing.
Yes.
The other thing is that 2 million buys you nothing.
True.
Like a year's worth of development at most with a small team.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna check the development costs of the first one,
Yeah.
because I remember they had some astronomical budgets.
It was 34 million, and that was huge at the time. So 34 million for the Dreamcast. Well, it was for the Saturn first, but anyway. So it was probably just to gauge interest, just to show people that. Well,
Yeah.
people, the investors, that hey, we got enough people interested that we can actually make this game. But otherwise, yeah, I mean,
True.
the whole video they had was just quickly slapped together, obviously. And
Yes.
I don't think.
Yeah, it's one of the worst Kickstarter campaigns ever, I think.
Well,
the thing is, it doesn't have to be good because it's. Yeah. No, but I mean, it's Shenmue. It doesn't have to be a good video at all. They could just put up a video with a blank screen saying Shenmue III, and it would still get close to as much attention.
well,
The guy, like the creator of Mega Man, who's doing another game with a Mega Man that's not called Mega Man.
Mighty Number 9.
Yeah, he almost didn't get his shit funded.
Oh, yeah, true.
So I wouldn't consider that just being called Shenmue would make it work.
Don't know. Shenmue has a bit of a cult following, I think. Potentially more so than Mega Man wants another game, because there's been a lot of Mega Man games, while Shenmue was left on a cliffhanger 14 years ago.
True.
But don't know. Either way, it's gotten funded now, so hopefully we'll get a Shenmue 3.
you were talking about the worst Kickstarter, and I actually disagree, because there was the Kickstarter for Elite Dangerous was just a wall of text, nothing else.
Okay.
It was David Braben just typing. Wouldn't it be cool if we had this kind of game?
Nice.
So no. So at least they had
And
video.
that got funded?
It got funded. The
Nice.
game actually got released last Christmas, so you can play it.
Oh yeah, true. Nice.
Well, Horizon looked cool. That
It
was
looked pretty cool, yeah. I mean, there's been so many incarnations of cyberpunk in games that have been all about technology and like robotics and futuristic things. Horizon goes the opposite direction and says, we're gonna all become cavemen again. And it gives me a feeling very similar to Rust, or there's this other game, something of Ark, that's being promoted on Steam right now, which is also like a very primal thing. They drop you on an island with dinosaurs and you have to survive.
Oh yeah, so
Okay.
I've seen some clips from that. It looks interesting. Yeah, I mean, to me, Horizon is probably the game I'm looking forward to the most from Sony's press conference, because it kind of looks like the type of game I like to play, and apparently it is supposed to be a open world RPG, so me currently playing Witcher 3, I'm like, hell yes, another game of similar type, but in that kind of world. It looks amazing. So I'm quite looking forward to that one.
That said, Guerrilla Games is not exactly known for doing deep stories quite well.
True, I mean, what have they done in the past? It's pretty much just Killzone, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely a turn for the studio, but who knows, they might just pull it off.
Well, at least they have a better name for their game than their previous one. Killzone just sounds stupid.
Yeah, it's like the most generic shooter name you can ever think of.
Yep. Well, what's it called? Metal Gear Solid Warfighter
Is it a
might
zone
be
where you
even
get
more generic.
killed, or is it a zone where you get killed?
True.
Whoa! Careful! Jeez. Damn it! It's that goddamn truck again! Crap! Go! Please don't run anyone over! Sorry!
Should we move on to Microsoft's press conference?
Okay.
Yeah, I do want to just mention Uncharted 4 though, because that just looks
Okay.
amazing. So
more of the same.
the demo they gave was pretty cool. I mean, the gunfight and stuff looked similar, but the massive world where you actually end up driving for a good like 15 minutes and wherever you want, kind of along predefined paths, was pretty damn cool. So, I mean, the train sequence from Uncharted 2 is pretty impressive in itself. So, that might be the way you top it. Just drive a car.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It's probably the best chase scene in a video game.
I'm gonna admit, when I saw when I saw Sully, I noticed when I saw Sully and I saw okay, no, this is Uncharted now, and they said that this is going to be the last game we show. I closed the window. So, so that's my level of interest towards Uncharted.
Same here, to be honest. That said, it was a very neat chase scene. Like, and the Matrix, was that the Reloaded or Returns? The Matrix Returns, I think, proved that you can have an entire movie based off a chase scene. So maybe you can have an entire game based off a chase scene as well. Over to Microsoft's press conference, which was a lot more gimmicky, I have the impression, and a lot less about the games themselves. Shall we talk about things Rare first?
They showed two things there. The first one was the collection of games they are in.
Yeah, which seems to me very unholy in the sense that I don't know if you guys have seen the Kickstarter from the guys who originally founded Rare.
Syndrome.
Yeah. All of the founders have left. What is left of Rare in there? And then for Microsoft to issue Rare Replay, I'd actually expect like Nintendo to issue Rare Replay at this point, because all the classic Rare games were either Nintendo or maybe Sony, because there were a lot of them on the PlayStation as well. But Rare Replay by Microsoft just feels very imposterish to me.
Well, I don't know. But it's essentially all of Rare's good games in one package.
Except Donkey Kong, which is their best.
Except Donkey Kong, but that's obvious. But
And except GoldenEye 007.
yeah, GoldenEye.
Oh, that's Rare as well.
GoldenEye is
that's
also
Rare.
lacking.
Yep.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm not seeing it as too something that's too big of a deal. Especially since Microsoft doesn't have too good of a track record with remastering their old games to begin with. As we can see with the Halo Master Chief Collection, which I think is still kind of broken.
Yep. They haven't patched it up yet.
Well, they've patched it. Yeah, sure, but it's still they've been patching it like every month or something, and it's still not working.
Yeah,
So there's that. Yeah, and Sea of Thieves. That was the other.
Yeah, that looks kind of alright, doesn't it? It's kind of like Pirates meets Monkey Island, and it looks very good to me.
Agreed. To me, it has great potential.
Yeah, it seemed like an MMO, actually.
You think so? Yeah, there were character names floating around and stuff. On the other hand, I don't think players would be forcing someone to jump from the bridge.
You never know. I mean,
you never know. I mean, it does really look like an MMO, but it's something like Assassin's Creed Black Sails with a cartoony look and MMO style, maybe.
No, I must say I love the look.
and you say that players wouldn't force others to someone to jump off the ship. I would.
Well, I would as well, but it was so very well organized, like 4 people stepping together and kind of pushing the guy over to the plank. That feel very.
It is a. Yeah, I mean it is a cutscene. Yeah. Well,
that's the thing. It's like with these Ubisoft trailers where they show this kind of team chatter, and all of it is fake. So it's the same thing.
Yeah, true.
And then they had 360 backwards compatibility with Xbox One, and I think they were also talking about. They didn't mention this in the press conference, but afterwards they were also talking about doing it for Windows 10 as well.
Oh, interesting.
Which sounded interesting.
Wow, that's a lot more interesting actually.
Yep.
But like, I have the feeling of too little, too late right now. Because if you look at last year's E3, there were a lot of like we're releasing this title on current gen and next gen, and this year's E3 you don't even hear talk about the 360 or the PS3 anymore.
No.
And
but
like those games are off the shelves, and if they wanted that feature to count, it was for launch day.
Agreed. However, what I think they're going after is the large group of people that still haven't upgraded to a next-gen console and they're still content with their 360, and there's probably a good 50 million of those people around. And this is one way to swing them towards the Xbox One if they were considering a PS4. Because with the PS4, they're completely locked out of their previous game collection. While if they can still play their old games, well, screw it, I'll just get the Xbox One. I can trade it in with my 360, so I save some money. And I can still play all my old games. Like, yay.
Especially given your 360 is gonna give you 3 red lights of death anytime soon.
True. There's that as well.
So it's not like you're expecting to make it a keepsake for the next 10 years.
I actually
yeah,
own.
exactly. I mean,
I actually own a first generation 360 that still works.
You
impressive.
haven't played it much, have you?
I have. I've played a shit ton of Street Fighter 4 on it, and it still works.
Yeah.
Nice.
Impressive. I'd say you're ultra lucky.
Yeah, mine's from 2012, and I don't think I've turned it on for about 3 months. So for all I know, it could already be doing the red ring of death.
Well, I guess it's lasted longer than your Xbox One.
True. Well, actually, that thing works again after it just powered off the other day.
Aww.
No idea why.
So no red ring of death. No red ring of death jokes yet.
No. Although I'm not sure if it would have a red ring of death. I'm not even sure what it would do.
Well, one of my mates bought an Xbox 360, and within the first 2 months, it gave him a red ring of death, so he had that replaced. And after 3 months, that one had a ring of death, whatever. And then they replaced that one, and the next one lasted him exactly 1 year and 1 day, which is 1 day out of warranty. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Well,
Wow, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
I also know this guy who went through 8 360s within 6 months or something. And
Jesus.
with the ninth one, the CEO of Microsoft in Finland personally came to apologize.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Impressive.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's something you wouldn't expect Microsoft to do. Like,
No. No, I have a friend here that's gone through, I think, 3 Xbox Ones actually, and not because they broke, just because either it was the fan in the console or the fan inside the power supply that was they sounded like a coffee grinder. It was like so loud you could hear it over the games.
jeez.
Yeah, and I mean, we compared even to mine, and mine is like silent. You can hardly hear it, neither the console nor the fan inside the power supply. I didn't even know there was a fan inside the power supply until my friend asked me if I can hear the fan inside my power supply. I'm like, there's a fan in there? But yeah, no, his fan, literally, it sounded like a coffee grinder pretty much. It was loud as hell.
Jeez.
So I'm not sure if he's actually ended up getting a quiet one now, but his first replacement was just as bad.
Well.
Yeah.
Oh, Microsoft did go pretty mental with cooling on the new one, didn't they? Because they had this overheating problem with the 360 that caused the 3 red light.
Yeah, they
ring
did,
of
but it is supposed to be really silent because the power supply is outside, the console is massive, so there's a lot of space to funnel air around, and it's a massive fan inside as well. Versus the PS4 has an internal power supply, it's volumetrically about half the size. So, yeah. I mean, when the PS4 kicks off, it is loud. I mean, stupidly loud, to the point you can't even bother playing. Because mine is now standing next to the TV vertically instead of like inside the shelf on this TV stand I have, because inside the shelf, it would literally get so loud, I had to turn the TV up almost to full volume, and it was still annoying, the sound from the fan. It's like unplayable. And I was worried I was gonna burn the damn console, so. But, I mean, the Xbox One is silent. I don't think I've ever heard the fan, which is ridiculous. So, but when it came out, I remember reading some article where they did tests between idle sound output and full game sound output from the actual console, and I think it went from 52 dB to 53 dB between idle and basically full heavy load with a game running.
Jeez.
Which is pretty impressive. Well, the PS4 can go from basically silent and hardly any noise to a jet engine.
Yeah, I wouldn't know actually, because, well, to be honest, I'm not very disturbed about it. I used the PS4 for the longest time as my main media player for Netflix and shit. And the sound never bothered me. Maybe yours has a coffee grinder in it.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
We can talk about the HoloLens, which was which was a bunch of bullshit, but
yeah, gimmicky for sure.
Yeah.
I think like I was hoping that this was the E3 where VR was gonna be a big thing, because the consumer version of Oculus is coming out. Steam has revealed their VR set, and Project Morpheus seemed to be shaping up as well. But all we got instead was HoloLens Minecraft.
Yeah. Admittedly, the demo was quite cool, and I mean, you can't really show it properly on stage, even with like this special HoloLens camera they were using. It's really something that needs to be experienced, I think, because sure, it looks fine if you're looking at it from a camera feed, but how high def is the screen inside the HoloLens? How clear can you see things? How responsive is it really?
Well, I'd guess, like, since they put a HoloLens in front of the camera, according to the people on stage, that it's pretty high def.
well, to me it just looked like it looked less like a showcase of the technology and more like a showcase of someone using After Effects. So.
It might very well be true. I wonder what the people there experienced, although they were looking at the screen, seeing the exact same shit as we did.
Yeah. No, I mean, if they have one on display here, like that I can try myself, I'll definitely try it to see what it's like, putting on the HoloLens display or headset thingy to test it, but it feels very gimmicky.
What it really impressed me is, like, as the person moves their head and moves the headset, it doesn't jitter on top of the objects, because like most kinetic-based stuff really moves around the place.
You mean Kinect?
Yeah, Kinect. Yeah.
Kinetic, that's a new name.
Well, it's what it is supposed to be, but it has very bad detection, right?
Yeah.
And things tend to jitter a lot, and all the AR stuff, indeed, the augmented reality stuff, like on cell phones or the 3DS or whatever it is, are also like that. So a lot of research must have gone into the HoloLens, or that was very good After Effects, as Eric said.
Yeah, exactly. Although After Effects wise, it would have been hard doing it live, so I don't know. It seems like they have put a lot of effort into actual real-world physical object detection.
Yeah.
So, but I think it remains to be seen.
Indeed. Hearts 3. Anyone missing Mickey?
I haven't actually played the previous ones, so my experience is quite vague on it.
I have HD remixes shrink wrapped waiting to be played, but I could never convince myself to start.
I actually have the first Kingdom Hearts an HD remix, because a friend of mine ordered the second one, Collector's Edition, for his girlfriend, and then the first one as well, without realizing the Collector's Edition for the second one included the first game.
Right.
So I just ended up with the spare copy of the first game, and still have to remove the shrink wrap, I think. But I'll probably play it at some point.
Yeah, well, not too interested. Well, there was the, what was it? The Nier. There was the Nier announcement for...
Oh yeah, that actually looked quite cool. Not that I had actually heard of Nier before that announcement.
Yeah, it's actually the issue it had was that the story is quite good, and it's some really sad shit. By the way, I mean, you'll be crying.
Oh yeah, I remember reading an article where they said like there's 5 different endings, and the first one will make you sad, the second one will make you cry, and by the end of it you're just gonna feel suicidal or something like that.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, but the issue is that the game itself isn't too good. I mean, the gameplay is just somewhat. There's this flowchart for the game that says that a flowchart for the side quests. That is it a pain in the ass? Yes, no. Then don't do it, because otherwise you'll just get bored. And then there's this. Then it branches out. But anyway, there's there's essentially this whole chart full of things, and there's a whole bunch of them leading to no, don't do this side quest, and only one that leads to yes, do this side quest. So and one of the issues it has is the combat is just mashing. You are just mashing A or mashing X. So that's one of the issues. So there's no strategy to the combat. Nothing. It's just you hitting one button. And the other thing that's an issue is that the developers kind of realize that the game is kind of boring. So when you do a new game plus for the second ending, it starts from about the halfway point.
Okay. Well, an improvement, so you can play less of the game and still see the ending. Yeah, enjoyable.
Yeah. So, but the story is nice, and the Platinum is doing it, so that sounds good.
True.
I mean, they are basically the only development house in Japan now that knows how to do action games now.
Right.
So, I'm interested.
You?
Well, sounds cool-ish. I don't know, like, I have the feeling most games have evolved into this kind of storytelling that, well, you feel like you're playing bits and bobs of the story that's told with the cutscenes, right? Like, I played The Witcher 3 this morning, and it certainly felt like that. Like, I must have watched 1 hour of cutscenes for the 1 hour of gameplay I played. And while it's not a bad thing per se, and I expect that on an RPG, I don't expect that in a game with as involved combat as The Witcher.
True. However, regarding The Witcher, it does have quite a few cutscenes in the beginning, but they are quite few and far between after that. It's just like your introduction to the world, then you're kind of just open and left to do whatever you want.
Right. But the controls feel clunky as well. But that's a topic for another day.
Yes. It is.
What about the others? I mean, EA, did EA have anything interesting?
Unravel is about the most interesting thing they have, which looks really cool. It seems a bit in the realm of where like Ori and the Blind Forest is in terms of gameplay, but it looks really amazing and quite an interesting story as well.
Can't say I've paid much attention to EA's press conference, so...
Yeah, no, I kind of just had it on playing in the background while I was doing other things on the computer. But
Right.
Unravel caught my eye.
I know they're doing Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2. Yay!
Yeah.
And it's
Really?
gonna be probably kind of like a 4-on-4 thing like everyone else has now.
Fair enough. Personally, I couldn't really care less.
Well, it sounds like fun. I always like Plants vs. Zombies. I like the universe.
Okay, I've never paid much attention to it, to be honest. I just kind of look at it and go, meh, not interested.
Alex is playing the series Plants vs. Zombies games for the story.
Have we talked about Fallout 4?
No? Do you have something to say about Fallout 4?
Looks actually quite interesting. I mean, didn't play much of Fallout 3, but I might pick up Fallout 4 this autumn. So especially because I will probably have finished Witcher 3 by then, so I'll want another RPG in a massive open world. So
You might get shot for calling Witcher an RPG, though.
no, they do call it an RPG themselves. It's an open world RPG. That's what CD Projekt Red call it.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't match my definition, but anyway.
Fair enough. I think the definition of RPG is pretty damn broad nowadays, for better or worse.
Yeah, even FPSs are kind of RPGs these days.
True. So, although they don't necessarily get called an RPG yet.
Yet. Or maybe
Exactly.
something... Well, maybe we'll never call anything an RPG again. It's like calling a game doesn't define anything.
Yeah, true. But I mean, I remember seeing something, and one argument about The Witcher is that it's not a role-playing game in the traditional sense where you create your own character and you decide everything he does. You're basically role-playing as a specific character in a specific universe, where it gives you a lot of leeway. I mean, apparently Witcher 3, for example, has like 36 potential end-world states, depending on the decisions you make. And to slightly go off topic a little bit regarding Witcher 3, and RPGs, at least in general, is that one thing I like with Witcher 3 is that decisions you make don't have an obvious consequence. So you'll make a decision now, and it's not like, oh shit, no, that turned out bad, I'll just revert to the save and pick the other choice that I think I'll prefer. It's like you make a choice now, and maybe 4 hours later, you'll actually see the consequence of that choice you did. So it's kind of like you actually end up role-playing. You just live in this world, you make a decision, and then you're just gonna have to live with that because you're just gonna eventually notice the consequence of it, which I kind of like, because you just have to roll with it pretty much.
Yeah, you should probably play Dragon Age.
I've got about 30 or 40 hours in Dragon Age Inquisition at least.
Right.
So, which is pretty good, but it feels kind of like a cheap, not cheap, but it feels a bit amateurish and compared to The Witcher 3.
Well, it's certainly not BioWare's most smart moment there.
No, but I mean, even just like the combat and the way the world works and stuff, it feels very much like an old school kind of game where resources were limited and stuff, versus The Witcher just feels like proper like AAA times 2 comparatively. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, enough about The Witcher.
Yes, definitely.
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum. I'm all a go.
Maybe speak about Doom 4. I'm really excited to talk about Doom 4. Or, well,
Yes.
I was excited to talk about Doom 4. Yes, I was excited to talk about Doom 4, and Bethesda ruined it all.
By showing the video of it?
Well, for screwing up all of the Doom stands for, I think. Like, look, Doom was kind of this arcade-ish FPS, right? There
True,
was
yeah.
no depth at all to it. Each map stood on its own as a fun challenge.
Yep.
And it wasn't this dark, gloomy game. I mean, it was dark at points.
Yep.
But maybe it's a technology limitation, maybe not. But for the most, it was a very bright game. You played it in bright daylight with some spaces being outside or at least open spaces in the base. And you're just killing a ton of shit. That included demons, but also like just regular guys.
Yep.
And what Bethesda did is, one, they took off the music. Jesus, what's Doom without the Doom music? I mean, that's what you expect when you launch Doom for the first time.
Yep.
Right? And even my son noticed that. Like, we were sitting together watching for the Doom, waiting for the Doom announcement at the Bethesda conf, and he's like, "Daddy, where's the music? That's not Doom."
Yep. True.
And then, like, they say it's fast-paced, but actually what they did was increase movement speed, and that's about it. It doesn't feel like you're actually jumping through a horde of demons trying to reach the end of the level, which, by the way, doesn't look like a Doom level, what they showed.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they're trying to stick to modern games. Pretty much most games need to have a story now, it seems, unless it's like like indie game that's like 2-3 hours long and you can get it on Steam for like $5 or something. But otherwise, it's like if you're gonna do a $40 or a $60 game, you need to have like a lot of content. You need to have some story to tie people in. You can't just have a series of arcade-like levels and no like story reason to be there aside from just shooting stuff with no explanation.
Well, Doom had a reason, right? You were in this military base on Mars where things went apeshit. But that's about all there's to it.
Yep.
Well,
go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
Well, my issue was that first, it looked like Doom 3.
Yeah.
A lot. It looked a lot like Doom 3. And the other thing that I noticed was that there was this like, every time you did a melee attack, like with the chainsaw, there was a QTE, like, or something. There, it's basically you had a cutscene every time you did something like with a melee attack.
Yeah, I mean, even I got bored of those animations towards the end of the video. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Again, like 4 seconds of this. It should be a lot faster, and hopefully that's what they end up doing for the final game. Because I mean, if people get bored watching it, I'm sure you get bored playing it as well as you're developing it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they took a page out of Brutal Doom's book, which is a mod that recently surfaced for Doom 1, where things are like obscenely gory. And they said, people like that, so we're doing some more of that. And while John Romero himself said Brutal Doom is the game he wanted to make in the first place,
nice.
They didn't do it in the right way, I think. Like, it just gets in the way. That said, like, even though I love the chainsaw in Doom and I love it for being there, it's more of a gimmick than something you use on, like, day-to-day play.
Yeah.
You make your normal play.
No, I mean, the melee attacks definitely need to be increased in speed, because that will just get really boring. And I don't know, also, with that video, it might have just been me, but the whole, like, movement animations felt kind of fake, in a way. Like, even when he was just, like, running and jumping, it didn't feel like it was physics-based, the characters actually moving in an engine. It felt like almost it was handcrafted animations. But
no, I think it was fine, but Doom has this history of having demo files. And I think what you were seeing was a demo file that was rendered to be 100% of the time at 60 FPS.
Could be, yeah. I don't know, it just felt strange how the character moved in the world, but yeah.
Well, they may have like manually edited the demo as well to take out any minor mistakes or, you know, missteps for the sake of exciting people.
Yep. So, but I guess we'll see in later demos how it turns out.
Yep. about Ubisoft, Jim? You were excited about that?
The Division, really. I mean, they spent fucking 20 minutes on, what's it called? Let's Dance, or whatever dance game it is they make. I'm like, oh, seriously? You're still going on about this?
Just Dance, yeah.
That's it, Just Dance. Yeah, that was a bit ridiculous. But, I mean, the Division's demo didn't look amazing. It's very similar to stuff we've seen, but the Division as a game itself looks very damn promising. So I'm still very much looking forward to that game.
I must say I'm very skeptical. Like, I was really excited when I saw the first trailer last E3.
Yeah.
Or the E3 before that, they can't even remember.
Yeah, I think it's the one before that.
Yeah.
Last year, their like one more thing was Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
And it looked cool for the MMO aspect of it, but if I look at what they did to Destiny, well, it wasn't Ubisoft, of course, it was Bungie. But, like, I think Destiny ran with a very similar premise, and it wasn't as new and fresh as everyone expected it to be. In fact, Destiny feels a lot like an MMO where you go and play levels that look the same with monsters that look the same to get loot that looks the same.
Yes, agreed. However, Destiny as well, I'm hoping this isn't going to be true for The Division, but Destiny as a game, especially at launch, really felt like a quickly cobbled together pile of stuff just.
Yes.
And I mean, there were rumors as well around launch date that they had this massive whole game that they just would not have been able to finish in time for launch. So about a year before launch, they just scrapped all of it and just started building a new game from all the pieces they had. And that basically turned into the Destiny that launched, because originally they had so much else planned and they just were not going to be able to finish it.
Right.
So, because I mean, according to rumors, you were supposed to, each of the different, like, what's it called? The species, the humans, the Awoken, and the Exo robots, they were supposed to have different storylines, all three of those, and they scrapped it and just went with the storyline for the Exo. That was one of the rumors.
Right.
Which makes sense if you look at some of the cutscenes, because some of the cutscenes you're referred to as it, whether you're a human, a robot, or an Awoken, which is really strange, especially when the Awoken Queen refers to you as it, and your character is an Awoken just like her. It's like, why are you calling me it? What? I mean, if I was a robot, it would make sense. So there's a few things like that kind of makes me believe that, those rumors. So, but I mean, I'm hoping to get back on track with about The Division. I'm hoping that Ubisoft haven't ended up doing something similar with The Division, so it actually is a properly thought out game that ends up being released and has had the same target for the whole like 3 or 4 years it's been in development. So,
Right.
the only thing that is a bit strange about The Division was that originally early last year, they kind of announced like, yeah, it'll be 2015, and the development studio was like, what? We like, no, we've just started on this. What the hell? Kind of thing. It's like, what?
Well, I'd say, like, given the track record Ubisoft has for Assassin's Creed Unity, which was kind of trying to do the same stuff The Division's trying to do, there's nothing to be excited about. That's
to some degree, yeah. I mean, the co-op stuff in Unity, I've actually not even played the co-op stuff, but it does look interesting at least. I should probably try it at some point. So
you should give it a shot Unity today again, just to refresh memory.
Yeah, probably should, yes. So, but I mean, with Unity's problem was just that game needed at least another 6 months of development before release, but hey, they need to release one every year, so.
Yeah. It's the third-person Call of Duty, isn't it?
Pretty much, yes. So I mean, the last good Assassin's Creed was probably Revelations.
Yeah. Well,
and even that wasn't that good. 2 and Brotherhood were pretty damn brilliant. 3 was okay. 4 was pretty decent once I actually got over the hump. I mean, I didn't play it for about 4 months because I got bored with it. I eventually got back to it and kind of like, okay, there's actually some interesting parts to this once, if I don't end up spending all my time just sailing the ship and being bored.
Fair enough. Eric had something to say.
I was about to say that Ubisoft is seeing from Unity. Ubisoft is pretty much on track with becoming the one of the worst companies.
Yeah, they're kind of becoming the new EA.
Yeah, they are.
Yep.
But as far, in my opinion, there was nothing to be excited about with the Ubisoft's E3 press conference.
No, not really. I mean, the only reason I mentioned The Division is because I'm looking forward to that game, even though it wasn't very interesting at their current press conference.
Right.
There was Asia Tyler, and she was trying to come up with new memes. So there's that.
True. Actually, no. The very best part of Ubisoft's press conference is the trailer for the Trials Evolution DLC expansion thingy. Have you seen that trailer?
No.
It is amazing. It's like 15 seconds long, but it's just mind-blowingly amazing.
Oh yeah. It was the unicorn one.
Yes, it's the cat riding on a fire-breathing unicorn. It is insane and amazing. It's probably my favorite moment from E3. I was just going, what the flying fuck is this? And it's like, Trials Evolution, okay. Still, the trailer was fucking worth it. That's just mind-blowing.
I know some guys from Red Link, so I can ask what the fuck they were thinking.
Yep.
Do a barrel roll!
Anyway, Nintendo.
Yeah, from the beginning. They had a lot of funny moments, didn't they? Like execs turning into Star Fox characters. And
Yeah, I've liked last year's was pretty good as well, with all the what's it called, clay figures and stuff they did.
Yeah, I think that the aesthetics goes against all that E3 right now stands for. Like everything's so serious and bombastic and looking at investors, and Nintendo couldn't give a fuck.
No, they just go, hey, here we are! We're weird and goofy and funny.
Yeah,
Nintendo not giving a fuck was the basically what the whole theme of their show.
Yeah, true. They didn't have that many games to show. I mean, oh, here's a new Animal Crossing game, and everyone's like, yay! Oh wait, it's some Mario Party. Like, what the hell?
They announced what was it? Metroid Prime Federation Force, which is this kind of cartoony 3DS thing. They have, and they already showed off the other part of the game, which is the Blast Ball, but they only told that it's part of the Metroid Prime series in their own digital event. What do they call that?
Yeah.
That caused a lot of people to be angry. They were thinking like, okay, so it's I don't give a shit about this game, but at least it has nothing to do with the old Nintendo franchise that I care about. And then they announced that, okay, so this is a Metroid Prime game.
So you should care about it.
And what else? Then they were dedicating a huge ton of time to amiibos. There was the Woolly, what was it? Yoshi's Woolly World.
Yeah.
And they showed less of the game and more of the, okay, so this thing has amiibos.
Yeah, true. I mean, admittedly though, I quite like, both from last year and this year, they're like developer story sections or segments. They're actually quite cool. I mean, I really liked one from Yoshi's Woolly World last year, because they literally just took 3 of the developers or whatever and put them in a yarn store in Japan somewhere, sitting on the floor with tons of yarn behind them on the wall. So it was quite cool. So it's definitely a different feel than what the other press conferences do. But yeah, they do touch a bit too much on amiibos, but I understand why. They're making a shit ton of money off of amiibos. So it makes sense that they talk a lot about them. It's just not something I care about myself.
I can only vouch for what I see, and I have a 10-year-old son. He's very much into Skylanders. Like, we've bought every single the annual Skylander game for the past 4 years, and he has like 2 buckets full of Skylander figures. So
Nice.
I can understand that this is a money-making thing for Nintendo. That said, he prefers to buy Skylander figures than amiibos, and he's very much a Nintendo head. So, and he loves Super Smash Bros., which has the most amiibos out there right now. So I think they're failing miserably with it.
Not necessarily. The thing with Amiibos, the problem with Amiibos is, specifically for kids, I would think, is that there's no game that you actually need it for, and that it gives you a proper big benefit for. I mean, for Skylanders, you can't play the game without a figure, right? Because your save data is the figure.
Them, right?
Yeah, exactly. It comes with 3, but then if you want to play as another character, you need to buy that figurine. You don't need to do that with a Nintendo game. It's just, the Amiibo is just like an extra add-on thing to make the game a little bit different, a little bit fun, and it's a collectible figure. But that said, there's adults that are buying Amiibos. I mean, a lot of them are sold out pretty much everywhere. And they have generally a shortage and problems trying to manufacture enough. I mean, people are getting pissed off at Nintendo because they're not manufacturing Amiibos fast enough, apparently. So, I mean, it's definitely financially a success, I would believe. Otherwise, they wouldn't have a shortage of them.
True.
Nintendo just has this stupid way of manufacturing things that they always do too little of what they're actually selling. The same thing happened with the when the new Smash came out. They were selling the add-on so that you can plug in a GameCube controller.
Oh yeah, that thing.
into your Wii U, and unless you had one pre-ordered, you couldn't get one. And I don't think you can get one now unless you go to eBay and pay twice or thrice a month.
Well, by Japanese standards, that's quite okay. Like, if everyone that's pre-ordered got one, then that's quite fine. Like, my wife collects figures from Japan, and she has to stay awake very, very early in the morning or very, very late in the evening to actually be able to be one of the first, 1,000, 2,000 people to click a button on a web shop. Otherwise, she can't have the thing until it pops up in someone else's hands in eBay.
Damn.
Well, the difference is that they are collector's items. I don't think these things were advertised like they were basically not
console accessory.
There were accessories that were actually meant to be used.
Yeah, it's like, here's a new controller. Oh wait, you wanted to actually buy one? Good luck.
Yeah.
We only made 10,000 of them ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that said, I don't get why people don't want to make money. Like, why don't they first open their pre-orders, collect all of the pre-orders, and then send a production batch to fulfill those pre-orders with then some 10-20% over to sell as overstock? That's the basics of economy, but in Japan it seems to work as backwards.
Don't know. Maybe it's something to do with the culture and mentality there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, it might not be as connected to this. But a friend of mine, his wife is Japanese, and he said, like, there's a lot of strange inventions and ideas and things made in Japan that just seem absolutely ridiculous. And it's mostly due to the culture and how people are always polite. Because if you come up with some stupid-ass idea, nobody's going to tell you it's a stupid idea because they're too polite to tell you it. So you end up making it and selling it. And people just go, what the hell is this? The rest of the world especially just go, why?
Like bras for men.
Yes, it's like that.
Hey, listen! Hop, hop, hop!
But getting back to Nintendo, what did you guys think about the 3-player Zelda game? I felt like it was kind of a pushback to the Four Swords, but it wasn't even like 1/10% as thought out as Four Swords was.
Yeah, I mean, I never even found Four Swords that interesting, so my opinion is kind of meh. Where the hell is Zelda WiiU? I'll just wait for that till I play a Zelda game.
I don't know. The biggest issue I have is that getting even 3 players is quite a challenge for to get a good experience.
Yep.
Well, the intended experience.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're going for online multiplayer as well, which kind of defeats the whole thing, doesn't it? Like, I think I've only managed to play Four Swords twice in my life, because it was just this hard to get 4 people in the same room to play. But I don't think like people would have time over the internet either to just, let's schedule a game of Four Swords.
Yeah, but at least it's one less barrier, because you don't have to physically get everyone in the same room.
True.
So it's somewhat of a step forward, but it's still a bit of a fundamental issue.
I can see a lot of trolling ready to happen.
I've played Four Swords once in my life, and it was people got pissed off because I got all the rupees and nobody else got them. So and then we never played again.
You were too good, or they were too shit.
I remember there was this one of the mini games was this horse track.
Right.
That you could. What I actually did was that you can collect rupees on that horse track, and I was winning by quite an amount, and I missed one, so I take a U-turn, go like half the track back, pick up the rupee, and still win the horse race.
No fair.
Wow, you're just showing off at that point.
Yeah. And how about the new Star Fox? I for one am fucking excited about playing Star Fox again, and Star Fox 64 looks like shit these days. So I'm really glad we're getting an HD rendition of that. Even if it's the same fucking game.
I think that they announced that Platinum Games will be doing the single-player campaign, which is kind of interesting because they seem to be doing every action game at this point that was announced in E3. That's coming out from Japan. You can see, you check the names. Oh, okay, Platinum is developing this.
Yeah, they're doing a Transformers game as well, aren't they?
They're doing Scalebound, which wasn't showed this E3.
Oh yeah, true.
They're doing the Nier game. They're doing some Transformers game that we didn't see, and then they're doing Star Fox.
I wonder, though, what passes in the heads of someone at Nintendo to think like, oh, maybe we should outsource the single-player campaign of the single-player-only game.
Well, they're outsourcing it. The best option they have is Platinum. They did outsource the, what was it called, Other M with they got Team Ninja to do it, and that was Trainwreck, but
yeah. I know, but like it's just the sort of thing you don't outsource, right? Your brand is riding on it.
Yeah, but I mean, my opinion of it is that it seems like they're semi-serious about Star Fox. It's not like it's the new Zelda where they're 100% serious about doing it right. I
don't think they're turning it into a household brand. I think Star Fox gets the Kirby treatment. Like it's this cute, neat thing we have on the side to keep you busy while we're working on the next Zelda Mario game.
Nintendo has a whole bunch of these games, this game series that they haven't actually done any games for since who knows how long, like F-Zero.
Yeah.
Last one they did was, I think it's over 10 years since the last one.
Yeah, it's a GameCube one, isn't it? And that was pure shit. That was like a bad clone of Wipeout.
I disagree. I think it's the other way around, but
could be. But I mean, Wipeout did 3D speed racing first. When F-Zero was still on Super NES.
True. I never played F-Zero. I might have played it on the Super Nintendo at a friend's house as a kid. But
you're lost.
Yeah, I know. My first memory of it is reading about the F-Zero 64, whatever it was called, on the N64 in a magazine back in like 97 or something.
talked about Super Mario Maker in the beginning already.
Yeah, which does look quite cool. I'm actually curious of what people might create with it.
You know what I'm wondering is like if they're gonna include everything from the first games, like even the level designs, and even if they don't, the community will do that for them.
Yep.
Then how different would it be playing like the original Mario with the new Super Mario Bros. Style graphics?
Yeah, true. That could be interesting.
Well, we'll see. But the first thing we'll see is cocks.
True.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of dicks. A lot of dick levels. I wonder how
Nintendo will manage, because they're like very mental about this stuff, right? Like they don't want kids to see cocks. So I wonder how much sharing they'll enable on Mario Maker.
Yeah. Hopefully it won't go down the route of that Lego game that ended up just going under, because 98% of their finances was going for moderators to look for dicks in user-created content. What was that? I think it was called Lego Universe or something. One of the devs opened up on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, if you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Street Fighter 5. It looks pretty different from 4. It actually looks a lot like a combination of 3 and Alpha 2.
Enlighten me, because when I look at it, all I see is Street Fighter 4 with a bit further shaded graphics.
But the thing is that the damage is, I mean, it's astonishingly high. There were like matches I saw that lasted maybe 10 seconds.
Wow, that's change.
And the B skill, the B system, they have you have the B bar, which you can fill it up using, for example, you can use your B skill like with Ryu. You can use his he has a parry, which you can use, and every time you absorb a hit, you get some of that some of the B meter. And M. Bison has he has something like a projectile reflect that he can use, and every time he uses that, he gets some B meter. And then there's Charlie, who can take a projectile and pocket it essentially,
right?
And he gets meter out of that. And then you get meter just by taking damage for that bar. And once you have one bar, you can do an alpha counter.
Right.
So you can't. So you can't just. Basically, you have to have some do something else on offense than just hit buttons and them having block that.
Yeah.
And then there's the B trigger, which is essentially Well, it does different things with different characters. Like with Ryu, he goes into the Denjin mode, which is the kind of electric mode, and all of his fireballs cause a whole bunch more stun. And you can charge a fireball, and when you fully charge it, then it's unblockable.
Interesting.
How do you charge it exactly?
You just hold the button.
Like, oh, okay, like that.
You do the fireball motion, and you hold the button.
Mega Man style.
Yeah. and Charlie gets a bunch of teleports. His V trigger is essentially you do a move, and then you can cancel it into a teleport. And you can decide which direction you are teleporting. You can teleport behind them, you can teleport above them, you can do this kind of Dalsim teleport where you teleport in place.
Yep.
And that's what you can use for combos, and you can also use that as a mix-up tool. Like I hit this button, where am I now? And then your opponent gets it wrong, and then they are in a combo.
Right. See what you mean.
And yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff like that.
So there's mainly some changes to the mechanics rather than a big rehaul of Street Fighter itself.
Yeah, they've done a lot of changes to the mechanics. Like for example, you can't actually die of chip damage now.
Right.
You get chip damage, but you actually can't die of it. So you can block as many fireballs as you want.
Oh, that's a change. That's a big change for Street Fighter itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say like this feels more like 4.5 than 5, at least to me.
Well, yeah. Well, like I said, the damage is something really high. That changes the game a lot. I mean, you watch Street Fighter 4 and basically nothing does any damage.
Yeah.
Unless it's this kind of a big move, and then even then it has to hit. It has to hit raw. You can't combo into it. Otherwise, even that move does no damage.
Right.
So. I'm pretty excited. I wasn't when they first showed it. But I wasn't when they first showed it in. It was one of those Capcom tournament events. They were showing it with some players, and it didn't look too interesting then. But now I've seen the new systems, and they look pretty interesting now.
We doing vaporware?
Why not? I can't really think of any though, aside from Last Guardian, but that's now real, supposedly.
Well, it's still vaporware. That's my theory.
True. It's less vaporware, but still, yes, classifies. I guess, what's it called? Agent from Rockstar from God knows how many years ago is probably the biggest one that's still just unheard of.
Yep.
Did we ever see gameplay footage of that?
For Agent? I don't think so.
Yeah.
They literally just showed a logo and that was it.
What's this Commander Keen?
I plugged it in. You never played Commander King? No.
Never heard of it.
But I haven't heard that there was a version that never turned up.
So Commander Keen is built up with trilogies, right? Like, for those who don't know, Commander Keen is like a 2D platformer built by the same guys who built Doom. And there were 2 trilogies released, and there's a cliffhanger in the last one. And there's been talks of John Romero going back and doing it for like once every 5 years. Somebody asks him something, and he keeps saying that he's got something cooking. How much can you trust John Romero at this point? I'm not sure, but it would be really cool to see id Software go back, or actually, hopefully Iron Storm go back and do a new Commander Keen for next-gen consoles. Because it was a pretty kick-ass platformer. I think it's one of the most understated games that ever launched on PC.
Cool. I might actually have to check it out then.
Probably way too old school for your taste, Jim.
Potentially, yeah.
And my entry for the list was this game called Identify, and it was they showed it when PlayStation 3 was not released yet, and they showed some future games, and there was Tekken 6, which didn't quite end up looking like their advertisement footage.
Now that doesn't happen in E3. Everything they show at E3 is true.
Yeah.
And then there were games that never ever showed up, like like Identify, which was supposed to be played like with the PlayStation Eye. You had these two agent girls, and they were on a mission, and then every now and then they would ask what they should be doing in their mission. You were this kind of hacker who was supposed to give them information. So that was the idea, and essentially they showed it, and the idea looked interesting at that point, but nothing was heard of that game afterwards.
Nice. Sounds a bit maybe like what's it called, Milo, that Lionhead Studios showed off when they first demoed the Kinect.
Yeah, Milo is legendary.
Yeah. Although I think they officially have like announced like it's not happening, rather than just silence indefinitely.
Yeah,
right.
It's not happening because Peter Molyneux came up with it, so it can't happen.
True. He's not had a good run as of late, has he?
There was the interview by, what was it? Was it John Walker who asked his first question for Peter Molyneux was that, do you think you are a pathological liar?
I remember that.
That's pretty bold.
Yeah, that was epic. So, still, I mean, I liked, what's it called, the black and white games back in the day on the PC. Never got properly through either of them to the end, but I did like them. And I loved the first Fable game, especially back in the day. Fable 2 and 3 were also pretty good. 2 being better than 3. 3 was okay, but... of course, with Fable 1, he did obviously promise that it's a completely open world, you can go anywhere, you can do anything, the world reacts to it, blah, blah, blah. And Fable comes out, and it's really just small areas with corridors in between, and your actions don't have that much consequence.
You clearly never played Ultima.
No, can't say I did.
Because Ultima 7 was already very much open world and could do whatever the hell you wanted, and the NPCs reacted to it pretty heavily.
Nice.
And it was lots of fun. I remember spending like afternoons with my friends just seeing which kind of shit we could get away with in Ultima. Which is what I see a lot of people do with Skyrim, for instance, these days.
Yeah.
Which leads me to another vaporware, which is called Ultima 10 Odyssey. Was supposed to be a sequel MMORPG to Ultima Online, which back then was Origin's main cash cow and was the first MMORPG ever, for those who don't know it. And it looked pretty amazing at the time, actually. But it got botched because Origin felt they should invest further on their 2D isometric Ultima Online that was still making money, instead of focusing resources on making a new game and staying relevant. Which bridges into the new game that the guys behind Ultima, well, Lord British as we know him, or Richard Garriott. Yes, the guy behind Tabula Rasa. Which is called Shroud of the Avatar. And that's kind of like spiritual successor to Ultima Online. I've backed it, and I've been following the development quite closely. They have kind of public sprints of development, and they're on release 20 something by now.
Cool.
And it's turning out pretty interesting. They're adding support for player-run quests, for instance.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. The whole thing is shaping more towards like a tool for the community to build stuff rather than a focused campaign or a focused set of content. That said, it looks horrible visually. Like, it looks like a game from 2005.
Fair enough. So, but yeah, that could be quite interesting, especially as long as you don't end up with basically every quest being some kind of dick joke.
Yeah.
Since players can create the quests.
Indeed. Well, even if it is, it's a different experience, right?
Hell yeah. It would still be pretty damn cool, even if every single quest was a dick joke.
Yeah, so many
it just
ways
might
to
not
see
be what
dicks.
they would... Yeah, true. It would still be highly entertaining, that's for sure.
And speaking of dicks, I thought it was really cheap on Bethesda's side to call Doom's new map tool Snap Map, which is clearly a riff on Snapchat.
Yeah. That is weird.
Yeah.
Hear, feel.
Do you guys? Does Jim want to talk about his return to Final Fantasy XIV?
We already kind of covered the return to Final Fantasy XIV.
Pre-show.
Yeah. Well.
Oh yeah, true. That was pre-show.
Yeah.
Forgot when we even started recording. So.
And well, I think this was maybe the worst time to start playing the game again.
True.
Is an expansion just coming out though?
Yeah, there's an expansion just coming out and the servers are getting hammered.
Yeah, I spent about 45 minutes yesterday trying to connect to the data center. And the game is so awesome. When it fails to connect to the data center, the whole application quits and relaunches, and you have to type in your password and security token again.
In the PS4, yeah, you used to do that to me to PS3. Well, I must say, that brings back launch day memories.
Yeah, true.
I bought the
well,
PS3
I just
Final
want to play it
Fantasy
again.
IV when it launched, and it was just like that.
Yep. So, we played, me, Eric, and George, who was supposed to be on this podcast with us, but unfortunately couldn't make it. Played for about 3 or 4 hours yesterday.
The funny thing about that login thing is that it does a similar thing on Windows as well. What it does is that so what Final Fantasy XIV does on PC is that when you start it up, you log in, and then it tries to log into a data center, and then it comes with the error message pops up. That's that, and then the game says this application has stopped responding and needs to be quit.
Yeah, talk about quality assurance and quality testing there.
So that makes me think that they actually don't have a they don't actually have thought, they haven't actually thought of what might happen after someone if someone actually doesn't actually manage to log in, so the whole thing just crashes.
Yep. Massive gaping hole in their list of test cases.
Yeah.
Or that's just their expected behavior. Somebody thinks that's
it's
fine.
A feature. It's a feature. It's supposed to crash when you can connect.
Yep.
So there's that.
That's that.
We got a good 10 levels though.
Yeah, exactly. Got up to from level 4 to level 10 or 14. I mean.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it was quite fun.
Yeah, that was pretty solid. I thought with with dividing the experience, you guys would go slower actually.
The divided experience is only when you kill specific enemies. You still get the full experience from each quest.
Right.
Because you each have to pick up a quest. It's not like one of the party members picks up the quest and everybody gets it. All three of us has to individually go and get the quest. And then just things we do on the quest end up counting towards all three of us at least. So if there's 8 enemy to kill on the quest, it counts for all 3 if we're all there in the area when we do it.
Right.
But aside from that, you get the end quest experience is just yours. And, well, each of us gets that, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Jim, did you get to play on the PS4 this time?
Yeah, so I actually upgraded my PS3 version to the PS4 version last year when the PS4 version came out, and I ended up playing for about 2 hours, and then I kind of left it and didn't end up going back to it.
Is it any better?
It looks a hell of a lot better, so and it controls better as well. So, and you can actually use a proper keyboard and mouse if you want with the full PC version UI rather than being stuck with the console UI as you're on the PS3.
And that's neat.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, if you have it on the PS3, you should be able to still upgrade to the PS4 version for free if you played before, what was it, 11th of April last year? You just have to basically fill in a box and you just get the PS4 version instead.
And then you can download that? You don't need a disc
just
for it,
download,
sure.
nope, no disc, just download it from the PSN store and done.
Yeah, cool.
Yep, that's what I did.
All right.
Yep.
Well, as much as for the show, I guess that's a wrap.
Yeah, pretty much. I believe so.
Thanks for listening to our first episode. We'll be publishing new episodes on a bi-weekly basis to our website, Romdo.io, iTunes, and SoundCloud, so make sure to subscribe, follow, or add us to your podcast listening app. See you on the next one. Bye.